Last week, I passed my Microsoft certification for Azure Administrator in first attempt. I scored 832 after 8 weeks of study. The pass mark for this exam is 700 out of 1000. In this video, I'm going to share all the study materials that I used and the roadmap that helped me to achieve this result. Before the exam, I already had hands-on experience in Azure. In fact, I led multiple cloud migration projects as a solution architect. If you are someone new to the Azure, I will highly recommend to pass the Microsoft Certified Azure Fundamentals exam first, which is AZ-900, and then prepare for Microsoft Azure Administrator exam, which is AZ-104. Azure Administrator exam requires hands-on experience in Azure, as well as intermediate to advanced level understanding of Azure services. I used a strict roadmap and 3 study materials to prepare for this exam. I started with Microsoft Learn. I found Microsoft Learn is really helpful to fill some of the gaps that I had. For example, there might be things that I might not have used every day-to-day work, but Microsoft Learn helped me to learn about those. Microsoft Learn includes hands-on labs and quizzes. I found those hands-on labs are really helpful. Those are basic in terms of difficulty, but those labs helped me to refresh my knowledge about Azure services. I also used MeasureUp. I bought 60-day subscription to practice the exam questions and for mock test. MeasureUp questions are much more difficult than what you can expect in the real exam. If the real exam questions are 7 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, MeasureUp questions are 10 out of 10. After going through a particular topic in Microsoft Learn, I used to come here to solve the questions for that topic. Some questions were really difficult and it required advanced level of understanding. So I implemented the suggested solution in Microsoft Azure in my own personal subscription. That helped me to overcome any weakness I had in that particular area. It took 7 weeks to go through all the topics in Microsoft Learn, and I started to get 90% score in the mock test. At that point, I decided to book my exam immediately following week. Just 1 week before the exam, I bought mock test from Tutorials Dojo. I wanted to check how I would do against an unseen question set. As I started to achieve more than 80 to 90% in those mock tests, I felt I'm ready for the exam. So after 8 weeks of preparation, I sat for the exam, and when I saw the first question, my heart sank. It was a case study, and I took 19 minutes to answer all of the case study questions. There were 5 questions from a case study, 3 questions were from a particular scenario, rest of the questions were multiple choice questions that also include drag and drops. In the exam, I received 4 or 5 questions similar to Tutorial Dojo and same number of questions from MeasureUp. Rest of the questions were completely new to me, especially the questions for case studies and the scenario-based questions were really difficult. I took lots of time to answer those questions. By the end of the exam, I was struggling with my time. I didn't read the last 2 questions properly. I just answered them and probably answered those questions wrong. At the end of the exam, I was not sure whether I was going to pass or fail. But when I saw my score, I was really happy. I believe Microsoft Learn, Tutorial Dojo, and MeasureUp all contributed equally to help me pass this exam. I will highly recommend to follow the roadmap that I followed and use these tools to not only prepare for the exam, but to also to become an expert as an Azure administrator. If you are currently preparing for the Microsoft Administrator exam, I wish you good luck.